If you can't book meetings via cold call, you won't make it as an account executive. My name is Bri, and I've actually been in sales now for the last 14 years. And what I'll say about folks that I've trained, at this point I've trained hundreds if not thousands of salespeople over my entire career. And there is a direct correlation between a top performing account executive, one that comes from business development, and their ability to crush it on the phones. When I say crush the phones, I'm not saying to inflate your numbers just so that way your manager gets off of your back. I'm saying a true tell to a closer, a top performing BDR, is their ability to close a prospect over the phone when they get them. And I've got a couple key reasons why I do think that there's something special about folks that are really great on the phones and that correlate to an account executive and their ability to succeed in that role. The best closers have a strong skill on the phones. It translates directly to driving a very strong discovery. Now let's talk about why that is. Cold calls test your reflexes as a closer. So if you think about it, you're calling a prospect out of the blue on a casual Tuesday morning, and you get them on, they're busy, they're stressed, they've got things going on, and 9 times out of 10, right, they're gonna tell you, hey, I'm busy, call me back at a later time, or hey, if this is a cold call, I don't have time for it. And I'll let them be fazed by a simple, arbitrary objection. Can they navigate the objection to the point where it does build value and still staying on the phone if what they just experienced was a smokescreen? So can that prospect stay on the phone with the top producing BDR? Step 1. Can we navigate objections? Step 2. And all of these is gonna come down to your rebuttals and your reflexes, because I can tell you right now from listening to thousands of calls at this point, the top producers, the best BDRs out there, they hear a smokescreen like call me back later, and they move past that in a very just personable way without sounding pushy or pressuring them into staying on the phone a little bit longer, because true top performing BDRs know how to build value. Now guess what? As a closer, as an account executive, you gotta be able to build value. That's the whole point of taking a deal across the finish line. You're building value every step of the way when you're engaging with a customer. So when it comes to condensing the timeline of outreach, I love cold calls for that reason, because here's the thing, when it comes to emails and LinkedIn touch points, you're at the mercy of the prospect. You're waiting for them to finally say, hey, it's a big enough pain that I'm gonna need to reach out to that salesperson that's been reaching out to me via emails and LinkedIn touch points to finally get something on the calendar. And it's just, you're taking your sweet time. I wanna make sure that my reps are learning about the essence of urgency and hopping on a phone and building value, and why that meeting is gonna be beneficial for that executive to take with your company. I love cold calls because there's a little bit more urgency, and you're able to articulate, 1, value into what you're doing, what you're solving for, who your company is. You're able to build rapport in a genuine way. Similarly to an account executive, if you're just passively sending off little emails every couple months to try to progress deals forward, that's not gonna do anything. As a matter of fact, every single day, every single week, every single month that passes since your last meeting as an account executive, maybe after a disco or a demo, every week and every month that passes, the value of what you articulated on that discovery drops. And they start to forget bits and pieces from that discovery that you ran, and weeks, if not months later, at that point the value is non-existent because they heard you talking about it weeks, if not months prior. And so at that point, the value of what you're trying to solve for has dropped to the point where it's pretty much non-existent at this point, because they went back to what's comfortable, which is their existing solution. And at this point, there goes your chances of potentially closing them sooner rather than later. The account executives that call and are proactive of their follow-ups are the ones that typically do the best and have a higher closing rate. Next reason why, as a BDR, you should improve your cold calling skill set, because it impacts you as an account executive later. People buy things from people that they know or that they trust, or both. It's really hard to build rapport and be likable when all of your communication to a prospect is done via an email or LinkedIn, unless you're using like voice notes or videos and that sort of thing, where your personality kind of comes through a little bit differently. So that's why I love cold calls, guys, because I can tell you right now that if I'm skimming through my email and I get a ton of just like cold outreach sent to me because of my line of work, and I can tell you right now that 9 times out of 10, if it just like looks automated, it's gonna get spammed and that's it, and I'm never gonna talk to that salesperson that reached out to me. But if they try to call me, right, and I can actually recall the handful of phone calls that I've received recently over the last month from salespeople that then followed up via email. There's a higher chance of me clicking into their emails and looking into what they offer if they cold call me and they impress me via their phone call. I also get a ton of salespeople that call me and they're boring. You can just tell they lack enthusiasm when they're talking to me. But if they're really smart and really personable when it comes to asking for the follow-up of, give me 30 or 60 seconds of your time just to see if this is worthwhile and if it makes sense for us to continue the conversation, right? So like they push a little bit and try to like overcome my objection. That is impressive. But I can't tell you how many times, like 98% of the people that I talk to fold so easily. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you didn't even like try on that call. Hey, trying a little, sounding, personable, sounding like yourself, being authentic, all of that really does play a big role in me actually staying on the phone and being willing to pass you along to the right people within my company. So here's my last tip as to why I do think that as a BDR, you should really take cold calls seriously. Cold calls are not dead, my friends. You should take them seriously because they do directly impact your effectiveness as an account executive once you get promoted. So here we go. When it comes to a cold call, think about it. You're introing yourself and who you are. You're introducing challenges and pain points that you solve for, why this is going to help and build value for that person that you're talking to, and why you're going to help save them on cost, resources, time, you name it. And then lastly, you're articulating next steps, which is to hop on a call on a discovery for you or your account executive to dive into this further. What I just ran through is the skeleton to a discovery, meaning bare minimum, bare bones is, can you get the person to show up on that next call? Step one. But most importantly, if you're training to become an account executive, take time on that call, if you have the time, to improve on your discovery skills. Because guess what? A cold call is a discovery. Oh my gosh, a cold call is a discovery? Yes, a cold call is a discovery. Every call, every interaction that you have with a prospect that is a decision maker is part of discovery. Discovery isn't just one call or one meeting that you might have with them. It's never ending. Until they sign up with you with a contract, you are trying to do your best to discover and build value and create urgency into why you're the best product or the service that they need. That being said, you might be feeling after this video, oh my gosh, I do want to improve, but my company doesn't have the best training. My manager is really busy, has not taught me much about cold calls, and I really do need some help. Then DM me, comment below, do whatever you can to help improve your skill sets. And I'm happy to even hop on a call if need be, if you need some help in just creating like some sort of roadmap for cold calls to take you to the next level. If you like this video, feel free to comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you next time.